Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to the match reaction, the extra time segment for Nottingham Forest 2, Everton 2. Everton blue. Well, it feels a bit like 2 points drop. I'm getting pretty used to saying Everton lose. That's what I think where that one's come from. But it does feel like 2 points drop. But we went to Nottingham Forest, got a draw, and yeah, it wasn't an all-round bad performance either. Some silly mistakes have cost us it in that game, but still a damn sight better than how things were a month or two ago, aren't they? I'll go to
Yeah,
Owen first because I'm sure Owen's got uh, plenty to say on. A lot of people, like were given, like we were saying before we came on, a lot of people were giving the manager a bit of stick about like certain things from yesterday, and I don't know what more he can do given the circumstances. To be honest with you,
they should just take the role up themselves, and it'd just be better for everyone, wouldn't it? Because I mean, we'll go into the game first. I think Everton played really, really well. I mean, my only criticism at times, and this is probably the oldest criticism of all time, is that I think at times we play a bit too much football. I think there's times in the game where it's like there's a lot of vibes to Evans' performances. Maybe not putting the ball in the back of the net, but putting four passes together and getting four men runs towards their edge of the box. But we do really, really well. I mean, I've been really like happy and surprised, I suppose, in how well Sean Dyche has managed to improve everything going forward. Because I think that's been like the biggest glaring weakness all season. I'm not saying we're putting chances away and we're scoring loads of goals. But if you're an advocate of XG, Everton are scoring 2 goals a game every game on that metric. I'm not what's the word, religious to it or anything like that. But I do believe that there's a value in it. You're looking like you're scoring 2 goals a game every single game, and that's what we're doing. So on that measure, we're doing really well. The the so the sort of weakness is the sort of individual mistakes defensively. You look at just little things here and there, and nothing that can't be ironed out. But I always thought people made out that Forest don't score many goals. But I thought yesterday was a dangerous one because if you watch the game and saw Forest's approach play, he literally got the ball from the centre half and pumped it forward all game. He didn't. Sometimes would give it to Shelby and he'd pump her over the top. But Joe Worrell would pump her over the top. But he'd give it back to Navas and he would hit it forward. They were essentially playing the old fashioned route one, and that worried me. Because as much as Michael Keane's like supposedly a 6'5" experienced Premier League defender, he's at his worst when the ball's getting pumped forward. I remember a game years ago when we played away at Burnley. It was Michael Keane's first season at Everton. And honestly, Ashley Barnes and Chris Wood retired him that day. He was embarrassing. He was next to Ashley Williams, and I think
oh,
Ashley
that
Williams was
was
sent off
yeah,
on
I remember
purpose
that game.
for
So when
about the
Allardyce
third
laughed at the
time that
fans
season.
afterwards.
But
That was when Allardyce laughed at the fans for criticising him after the game, wasn't it?
yeah, I was starting to get some sympathy now. But yeah, yeah. So it was that game, and he was lost that game, and he was up against Chris Wood again today. And although Chris Wood didn't do very much, the sort of physicality of him and the threat of Johnson and Gibbs White made me worry. And in the end, it was just a couple of silly mistakes which cost us the win. And I think 100 and no, if you come out of that game thinking we didn't deserve to win, I'd love to know what game you're watching. But I thought we played excellent first half, and second half I thought we did defensively did everything right, but except the core right makes a loose pass and the whole midfield running forward as if it's 0-0. And yeah, we concede. I'm more philosophical over the point, looking at no one to one there runs in September. Difficult place to go. Carnival atmosphere. You make it really. They do remind me of what the manager had at Burnley because it's bigger grounds and bigger crowds and bigger club. But that sort of like they never gave up for 1 minute during that game, and I think there's a lot of that to be commended. And you spent a lot of money on some absolute crap. I don't know how you spend that much money. And Colback, Shelby, and Kouyaté, whoever they had in the midfield will let them get on with it. But no, I'm looking at it thinking there's 4 or 5 away games coming up. Maybe not in the immediate future, which are considerably more winnable for me than that, given how they're playing at the moment at home. If it was we were at home, I'd expect us to put 2 or 3 past them, given how they play away from home. But it's a difficult one. That there's always a newly promoted team. Most years that even if they're not great, they have like they're a nightmare to play at their own ground, and they're that team this season. So I never thought there was a more inevitable 11 defeat or half one yesterday, and so for us to gain the point and put in a good performance, scored a couple of goals, I'm content. But I am annoyed because I thought we should have had a penalty. I mean, if that tackle if he's 1-on-1 and that happens and it's just him and the goalie, I think he gives a penalty. But it's just because it's kind of like there's players surrounding him and he kicks his leg and whatever. He says he doesn't get it, but I think it's a penalty. And yeah, it's a game of mixed emotions for me because on one hand I'm really happy that we got something out of the game and I thought we'd get beaten. But equally, when you play that well, you would like to win games, and it's a flip of a coin. I thought Damari Gray played really well up front. Dwight McNeil, fantastic again. The naysayers are very quiet lately, and rightly so because he's given everything to and he's playing really well. And if there's one player I'm really happy for, it's Dwight McNeil, and I hope he
I'm
keeps.
buzzing for him. I've stuck by him since he first signed. I thought he was. I knew there was a player in there, but I mean, he's exceeded anything I expected. To be honest, though, in the last couple of weeks, he's been excellent.
He's ironically been given more freedom under Dyche than he ever got under Lampard. He's picking. I thought he was going to score a goal that was very reminiscent of one he scored at Goodison yesterday when he came in on his right foot when from coming in from deep. I thought he'd beaten Navas, but he made a good save. But yeah, he's been brilliant. I think there's a lot of positives and there's a platform for us to stay up. And if people hadn't been so blindly emotional about the previous manager and we'd got rid of him, I think we would be almost there now. But people, people are people.
A lot of fans are like, I think a lot of the negativity about this result comes around from the fact that we've got tougher games coming up, and people are like, "Oh well, if we can't win here, where's the next win coming from?" and all that. But
So it's all on paper, though.
yeah, but you mentioned there, and the point I'm going to make now is that even against some of the better sides we've come up against since they just come in with been averaging around 2 XG a game, which is like, I never thought me and you'd be chatty here discussing XG on a show,
Me neither, but we are where we are.
but exactly, yeah. But the fact of the matter is,
We're being honest, you do have to keep an eye on the data because I
it
always say
tells a bit of
you
a
can have
story, doesn't it?
you can have results and poor data. You can have indifferent results and encouraging data, but you can't have poor results and poor data. That's essentially you've got to have something to cling on to. And I think we've got half decent results, and the everything I'm seeing with my eye and on the spreadsheet, which really cringes me to say, is actually pointing in the right direction.
Promising, yeah.
I'm going to put my neck on the line and think we'll have enough.
Well, that was the point I was just going to make, was that with the average of like the 2 xG, I think a lot of the problems with our team's inability to score, obviously there's the lack of the focal point up front anyway, but let's not forget these players probably had the confidence after being sacked by the previous manager and the way things were going towards the end there. Some of these players, we've seen them produce more in the past. Is it just a case of that, the confidence will come with the extra chances being created, the more we're getting forward, maybe in time the confidence like that goals might just come over time as, we get more chances you create, the more confident you're going to be because, when you're only getting one chance a game, you're gonna like shank it, you're gonna fluff it because you're thinking, when's the next one gonna come? But like you say, we're getting forward quite well, so
I think I saw a stat saying we'd won. Again, I don't want to keep using this XG, but we'd won 2 games on the XG all season under Lampard, and I think we've won 4 of the 7 on the XG under Dyche. So
I'm assuming Arsenal ×2 and Liverpool with the 3 we haven't won.
We beat Arsenal on the XG.
Yeah, at home to Arsenal, we were better on the XG. It's just
Villa, Leeds, and yesterday.
The data nerds were the ones who sounded the alarm this season over Lampard. Like we were all buzzing about the back four, we're getting blocks in, and the players cared and all that. But they were all saying Pickford's playing out of his skin, and we're surrendering a lot of chances. So a lot of people who was on the Lampard train, like that, the data people, the XG people, were the ones saying we've hit the iceberg. We're not sinking yet, but we're about to be. XG is just a stats. That's the way I look at it. It's just the same as looking at running stats, assists, goals. You're seeing even the oldest of old school people look in the newspaper and go, what are the stats of the game, possession, this, that. They go, XG, what do you mean expected goals? It doesn't mean they're meant to have scored this many. It says, how did they play? It's how you look at how a team performed across a game that isn't explained in the final result. So you don't obviously win a match by having more XG, but you can read into it. It's the same way you can say, oh, that player's lazy, but then you pull his running stats up and he runs more than anyone else.
I love doing that.
Yeah, it's just the same as that. But, yeah, I mean, I see what Owen's saying about better performance. They've been strong at home, and you didn't quite go so far as say respect the points, but I think that's pretty much what he meant. Respect the point. The points are important, and they are. But on the strength of the game, I just think that's such a missed opportunity. We were the better team for the majority of the game. Certainly the first half, we were much better than them. We bounced back well from conceding the first goal. And then in the second half, we just surrendered the initiative. And yeah, I'm in full lockstep with Owen over the substitute. Like everyone pointing the finger at the manager over the substitutes. Like, bring on who? He brought on 2 players, and they're both crabs. And
they looked better when they came on.
Yeah, like if you brought the 2 of them on earlier, they wouldn't have been any better earlier on the match. Yeah, possibly. You look at the Arsenal game, he threw Holgate into centre defensive midfield. It's like his bench is shite. That's why all these managers are slow to make substitutions, because even the bad managers can see that there's no quality on the bench to change.
You like the sub, Ronald Koeman. He used to make about 3 after 15 minutes. He used to drive me up the wall.
But yeah, I'm not happy with that result. Before the game, when it was on paper, when it was on a spreadsheet, possibly, but the way that's left us, a game where we were better than them, they flattered to deceive. They're shite. They just threw everything at us, but there was no quality. Absolutely no. We had to play the ref. They're all cracking on that the ref was on our side. Like, come on, he was booking our players for not touching theirs and denying a penalty. And I didn't think it was a penalty in the moment because Coleman kicks him. But then when I look about it, like he kicks him because he's put his leg in the way of him from behind and not touched the ball.
He's tripping him up.
Yeah, so ridiculous decision from the referee.
I think he would have given if he hadn't given the other one.
Yeah, possibly.
Two penalties from the same game. Behave, calm down.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but yeah, played better for the majority of the game and just every single time we make an error, it leads to a goal. We never get away with it. We never make an error or have an individual mistake that, like, oh, we got away with that one because the player who collects it fluffs his lines or we recover. It's always a goal. You knew the second that Decore made that pass and it went to their players and caught all of our midfield behind play. You just knew this is going to be a goal. Doesn't matter what happens now. If they're going to score, and that's exactly how it works. And Michael Keane, how many times do I need to see an opposition player use him as a mannequin to bend their shot round? See, Dwight McNeil did it to him, I think, in last season. And someone was it against Leicester in the might not have been Keane actually. Someone did it in the home Leicester game to one of our defenders, but I've seen it happen to Keane a lot. And yeah, that's the only wrinkle in the manager I've seen so far. Is I knew he'd go to Keane at some point. I think he needs to relieve himself of that very quickly. That Michael Keane's a good
we wouldn't have dropped Connor Cody, would we? So
no, I wouldn't have. I'll be honest. I mean, I don't think Cody's played well recently, but he's still better than what else we have.
He's a bit
maybe
slow,
excluding Mina, but Mina's not reliable fitness-wise. So.
Yeah. I'd go out on the limb and say we would have held on there with Cody. But I think he'd have been screaming, put your foot through it. He's that type of centre-back.
Also,
I'm not saying that Cody's Fabio Cannavaro, but and I know most people who were saying drop Cody didn't want him dropped for Keane. They wanted him dropped for Mina, but he hasn't brought Mina in. He's probably not going to bring Mina in because he's, for all the reasons you shouldn't bring Mina in because he's frigging injury prone. I think you throw Yerry Mina in when it's one game for survival and you just don't go, fuck it, just use him.
Or for me, when you've got 10 minutes to go in the game and, like yesterday, you just go 5 at the back. Realistically, were they playing through the midfield at all yesterday? Or could we have just put another centre half on for the last half an hour just to add the million crosses, balls forward they were playing?
I know, but if we end up staying up, you'll look at that point and go, you know what, clever point. I was moaning about the team not doing it when we were at home to Wolves and surrendering the lead. So it all depends on context. But I come out to that game thinking we were a better team. They're not that much at home on the evidence I saw. At least they weren't for this game than all they have been previously. And now we're still in the bottom 3, and crucially, every other team's got a game in hand on us now. They're not all going to lose again.
But this is the point now. There's 8 or 9 teams in this. If it was like last season and it was us, Leeds and Burnley, and there was 3 teams in, and it was, I would think I'd be like that's it. But because there's so many teams that haven't won in like 14 games in the bottom half, I'm thinking, they all lost at the weekend and we gained a point on them, and it isn't perfect, and there's this, that, and the other, but I'd rather we'd done that than. I know it's the individual. I'm looking at it as a collective performance, and I'm seeing the positives in it. If you look at individual errors here and there, it was loose, but it is a tough one.
Another way of looking at that is like the game in hand. Like there's like the game that we played extra, the away defeat to Arsenal, which is it's an away game on the calendar that we didn't do well in. How many of those other teams who may well still have to go to Arsenal will get a win at Arsenal or get a draw at Arsenal?
Not much chance, I would suspect. But Palace play Brighton, Man City and Arsenal and all that in the next few weeks. I can't see them getting any points out of that, I've got to admit. And they've won 1 and 14. So where does it leave them?
Well, I suppose the positive is you're coming up to these next games now, and you think, they look hard on paper, and they do. Got some games at Goodison, and we beat teams who were better than us last year. But you've also, this is the bigger picture, and it's a fucking travesty that we're still thinking like this. We're closer to getting Calvert-Lewin back, who'll make a massive difference. Got Patterson and got Garner back now. They're not well beaters, but they gives us more options. It's than playing the same 11 every week. If he wants to bring one of the midfielders out, James Garner's there, who's good at set pieces, which seems to be the only way we're going to score. Patterson, I think, is a better player than the current version of Seamus Coleman. I do rate Patterson. Damari Gray through the middle. I was a skeptic. I thought people all want this, and it's not going to work. In reality, it's good. He's a lightweight, erratic winger who likes to cut in and run at players. He's not going to work as a lone front man. But I was completely wrong. He wasn't like amazing, but he was far better than what Mopai has been showing. So Damari Gray up front until Calvert-Lewin's fit, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, definitely saw more promising than, as horrible as it is to say. I mean, we finally scored 2 goals in a game. I mean, that's a big positive, I think, to take away from this. Because when was the last time we did that?
Knows, but it's just, I mean, it's still the set pieces. There's no open play goals in the team, but that's a reality. You just got to make the most of the set piece. We got in the penalty. It's a gift. The penalty. John Joe Shelby had a brain dead moment. Just gave Dwight McNeil's looking to buy it, but Shelby's selling it, isn't he? So straightforward penalty. Takes the penalty emphatically. Graham Souness reckons it's a dive and a bad penalty because he's a bitter Al right.
There's no such thing as a bad penalty if we score.
He's just
it's a bad penalty. Was it? It's not a. What did he actually say? I can't even make
a big penalty, and it's a dive. It's like, okay, Graham, like you bitter Al right wing cunt, but his kecks were on so tight, he's probably cutting off circulation to his brain. The fucking idiots. But yeah, so we got. I've never seen a man in his 60s. I swear to God. Yeah, it's still set pieces, but the second goal, it was like, yeah, I like that. Like we actually stayed alive on a second ball for once, and Tokore's alive to it. And I actually said in our group chat that Decore is the key man for me today, because if we're going to have any chance of scoring, he needs to get up alongside Damari Gray and help him. And I think, other than his mistake, which is often the double-edged sword with Everton, I think Decore had a very good game. He was the best I've seen him play for a while. Dwight McNeil was very good. So we just need to go into Brentford and just take these performances. I'd like to see changes. I'd like to see Keane dropped. I don't think he will be, but I would like to see him dropped. I would even go so far as to bring Patterson straight back in, because Coleman's got a knock, and Patterson, I think, gives us more energy down the right. But yeah, we just need those players to carry on that vein of form. Like when we get Calvert-Lewin back, even maybe before, we're going to start hopefully seeing the fruits of the 2 goals a game XG. We're going to start seeing them go in.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I mean, and if it doesn't, it's the world's good. The sky's going to fall in if we go down and it doesn't happen. But until such a time as we're relegated, I've got to look at it as if we're not going to, and we're going to pull ourselves out of it. But I feel like it was a massive wasted opportunity for that game. I usually go to sleep and wake up feeling better about the results. Even a bad defeat, I always wake up and go, do you know what? It's shit, but it's done now. Move on to the next game. This one, I actually felt worse this morning than I did after the match, just because I was just like, we should have won that. We should be sitting here out of the relegation zone with 3 more points, having won an away game, and just from individual errors, we've let a good performance almost go to waste, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is a double-edged sword. I mean, they had a few chances in the last sort of 10 minutes where we could have easily lost it, and that would have been a killer. We'd have struggled to pick ourselves up to do this if we'd have conceded another one.
What we need to do to convert this XG is get our best creative midfielder back in Andre Gomez.
Oh my God.
Saw a bit of that on Twitter. I can't
he's done a couple of more 5 sideways passes at Leo.
Someone said
creative midfielder.
This man's our most creative midfielder, and I don't care what anyone says. Like, no, he's not, mate. He didn't create anything.
I'll go back to me April 2020 tweet. In X amount of games, Andre Gomez has created 1 big chance for Everton. 1 big chance. And that was at that point. He got even worse after that, so I dread to see after that. Got no defensive awareness. He is utterly in the Owen Park's room while 101 Andre Gomez. Absolute shite.
Dear.
I know we've got on to
We had I'd play centre halves in there over him, honestly. Bring Phil Neville back out of retirement to play over Trent Coleman.
Crazy enough, I think Phil Neville actually had more assists.
He probably did.
Get him and Dele Alli back and play them in a double pivot and just see the most not-arsed midfield you'll ever see.
That was Lampard's vision. What was he cooking?
let him cook.
I remember them. I used to see some midfields January 2022 of midfield of Gomez, Ali, and Van der Beek. Oh my word! Let him cook. He did cook what he cooked a year later.
He cooked set the smoke alarm off.
I love, just off topic, I love them 11s that people put out on Twitter. They're always fucking mental. They're always like a primary school kids ones where they put like every striker they know in the team. Like best team. I used to do them in primary school, best team in the Premier League. And you'd have Alan Shearer and Robbie Fowler and Michael Owen and Duncan Ferguson. You're like, where do you fucking fit? Like, you just had no
concept. Have like Henry at left back or something.
Yeah, you just have no concept of having Bergkamp in centre midfield. No, like, you'd have no concept of the midfield. They always have 3 at the back, 3 centre midfielders and 4 strikers. Those teams, they never have like any they think 3 defenders can be like 1 centre back and 2 full backs. That's what they always.
The best one for that, to be honest with you, is the Dark Crooks team of the week. He loves that one. Literally, it's always just 3 defenders. Could well be 3 fullbacks all playing centre back.
Yeah, but the thing with it is,
it's a midfield of
Garth Crooks. Garth Crooks. So that's maybe that. Garth Crooks. But
in fairness to that idiot, he's just picking the best performers of that week. So some of these at the balls on Twitter are actually saying, "Let's play this team," and it's like
Crooks.
Yeah, and like the centre midfielders are all like 3 number 10s in centre midfields and things like that, where there's just no one who can put a tackle in or nothing.
I haven't seen any of them lately, but it was with Lampard. There was loads. It was just like the most nonchalant, vibey midfield of all time, with just like 16-year-olds a centre back, and it was just, he said, "Let him cook." He did cook. He's fucking in the bin now.
Honestly, you'd see like Dele Alli, Iwobi, and like that's it as a double pivot, wouldn't it? It'd be like, what the fuck? You think that's gonna work?
I wish I'd saved some of these, because some of them were truly incredible. It was.
A lot of these tweets have been deleted now.
Oh no, a lot of them had like Gordon and McNeil wing backs, Ali, Van der Beek, and Gomez, and it's like, oh, it's just not very good.
What are these teams?
No, yeah. I've definitely seen a few with McNeil and Gordon at wing back.
Yeah. Oh, we've got it's now that Godfrey's played, it's all about Vinagre now. We're moving on to that one. Get Vinagre.
Vinagre has even kicked the ball for us this season.
In that friendly against Dynamo Kiev, I think. That was it.
It always reminds me of reading Twitter. It was a couple of seasons ago. Crystal Palace fans with Roy. It was always, where's Max Meyer and where's Brandon Pierre? So I was listening to a Palace podcast and they were saying Brandon Pierre's now playing for Dartford and Max Meyer's in the 4th division in Germany. So that's where they were. So all these people who think they know more than the manager, it often doesn't end well.
All fan bases do it just as bad. We had a whole fan base telling fucking the greatest of all time, Carlo Ancelotti, to play Niels Nkunku. Because he skinned because he went past a few League One players with his pace.
He skinned a couple of Stevenage players, wasn't he?
No, Blackpool.
Fleetwood.
That was it.
Yeah, he went
Blackpool in pre-season.
He put the afterburners on against Fleetwood and went past a few players down there left and right, play him in the Premier League, and telling Carlo Ancelotti to play him, basically go, why won't he play him?
In the exact quote is, where's Nkunku, Carlo, you dinosaur? It was after it was after Leicester drew 1-1 around with us, and he went back to the flat back four, and it was an absolute dog of a game. We just sat back the whole game, and it was like, I'm fucking sick of this negative, boring shite. Where's Nkunku, Carlo? Where's Bernard? Just absolute. Where's just
My
absolute.
God, do you want going through all this? You realise just how much crap we've had to put up with. Some of the shit we've had in this team.
I know. I'm paid so much money for the privilege.
I know, wonderful stuff. We're up here anyway. We've got a little bit off topic there, but nonetheless, Nottingham Forest 2, Everton 2. Let us know your opinions, guys. Get them coming in. Give us a comment, give us a like, and subscribe for more content. Until next time, guys, thanks for watching on the Selfie Blues.